What up, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy P. Skip. Welcome to the best half hour of your entire Tuesday. You know what time it is. It's time to get into his course. My squad with me, T-Mac.
Hola.
Chili Will.
Gracias, amigo.
Let's do this. 2 Corinthians 5:17 in the New King James says this. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. Matthew 9:17 in the New Living Translation says this. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins, for the old skins would burst from the pressure, spilling the wine and ruining the skins. New wine is stored in new wine skins so that both are preserved. I said that because UWM, the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee Panthers men's basketball team, has, as of March 19th, hired Bart Lundy as the men's new head coach. Lundy joins the Panthers after 9 seasons at Queen's University, where he went 30-4 this past season and reached the Division II NC2A tournament for the 7th consecutive season. And over the past 6 seasons, Lundy has gone 163-30. So I don't know, if this guy's a sleeper. We don't know where he came from. We don't know how they found him. All we know is that we have a Bart Lundy. Coach Lundy is a new head coach that came from Queen's University. Like I said, his NC2A Division II record looks well. But what Milwaukee seems to be for a lot of coaches is a stepping stone to the next move. Coaches come here, they do well, and they go to Indiana. They go to Tennessee. They go to Auburn. They go to all these other places. And so, I'm just wondering, how long is he going to be here? I'm wondering, what is his connection to recruit here in Milwaukee and to get players here? I'm just looking forward to seeing what he's going to do. The scripture I read earlier is like, you can't put old mindsets into a new situation. So I like the idea that they just went all the way D2. I don't want anything like anything we had before. I want to go and get something brand new. Will, I know you chomping at the bit because you figuring out who is this cat anyway. So what you think about this move, man?
Well, I don't have any idea who he is. Is he European American or what?
We're gonna go with
white
yes.
guy.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
I ain't never heard of him. I've heard of Queen's University. I know that's in like Charlotte, North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's in Charlotte.
It's in Charlotte. Yeah. I've heard of that. But I have no idea who this guy is. What's his relationship and connection? What was the vetting process? Who were the final 3 or 4 candidates, and how did he beat those people out? I don't have a clue of any of that. It's interesting that they would go and get a Division II coach. Now, granted, I have heard rumors in the past that UWM was thinking about going back to Division II. Now, I don't know if the alumni and other people would go for that at this point, because if you do, you look like a total failure. But maybe this is a 2 or 3 step process that they may be seriously considering that.
Mm-hmm.
What's your take on it, Tim?
That would be an interesting turn of events if they were to, go back and readjust and go to the Division II level. I don't know too much about Coach Lundy either. Little bit of research being done. He was the director of basketball operations at Marquette University from 2009 to 2012. So he has some familiarity with the
That's
local
why his
league.
name was familiar to me. I was like, why does Bart Lundy's name seem familiar to me?
Yeah, so he has some familiarity with the lay of the land here. I think the other thing they might have been looking at, after the, I don't want to quite call it a fiasco with the top
I'll call it
recruit
that.
this past
Fiasco.
year, and and the coach was trying to be diplomatic.
I go for fiasco also.
Okay. So coming off the heels of this fiasco of this year, maybe their approach was, okay, if we get a guy that's a little bit, lower profile coming from Division II, but is a winner, he has the track record, he has the pedigree, he has the chops to demonstrate, he knows how to coach those players that aren't all world 5-star, rivals 247, ESPN top 100, all this kind of stuff. If we have some talent here, we might be able to become the local, pipeline for basketball talent. And so if he can bring those same coaching chops to our, university, which is more closely, aligned with a Division II, despite us being a Division I, mid-major, than the Kentuckys and all those folks, maybe we can build something here from the ground up and return back to those days where we had the Bo Ryans and the Bruce Pearls and even Rob Jeters that took this, band of guys, had them playing together. We didn't have any prima donna situations and we didn't have acrimony amongst teammates. Maybe this is just an opportunity for us to kind of regroup and not have to go through an entire rebuild, but just a regroup, and we can get back to the lofty records and goals that we had before, and maybe even sneak into a tournament or two. And watching what St. Peter's is doing, in this year's tournament, I think that has been some extra fuel to the fire for that. So given his track record where he has been, Lost Division II, he's able to play up to his competition, apparently, and do a good job of getting whatever players he gets to live up to their full potential, which wouldn't be a bad thing, whether he's a known commodity or an anonymous guy virtually, like he is pretty much to the entire Milwaukee community at this point.
Yeah, I agree. We're still trying to figure out what we got and who he is. I think, and we got to at least give him the benefit of the doubt for the first 2-3 seasons, because he's still got to get rid of what Ball brought in. And then, and for me, I think all of this, I think they were going after him last year. I really do. I think they were going after him going, if Ball doesn't produce, Ball's out of here.
Yeah, Baldwin.
Yeah, Baldwin, right. And so I don't think this, because it happened so quickly. I think they already knew. They had already did whatever they were going to do to bring him in. And it was just a matter of probably them losing in the NC2As because Milwaukee already knew that they weren't going. So I think it was just a matter of once Lundy lost, then they could say, okay, now let's make this announcement and let everybody know you leaving Charlotte and you coming to the Milltown.
So you think they were already courting him then over the course of the past year or two?
A decision like this don't happen this quickly without there being some, because let's just be honest. Baldwin has been on thin ice since the last 2 years. The only reason he got a longer rope this year was because of his son.
Right.
And because his son didn't play, and they sold all these season tickets like his son was playing, they were like, oh, you have no idea how out of here you are. And take your boy with you. And so I just think that this was in the makings for the last 2 years. And so the ink, I think, wasn't dry. I don't think the ink was dry. I think the ink was dry before Baldwin lost. I think they just gave it a little bit of, we got to give it some gap time here, to let people know that we're looking when I actually already found.
Gotcha.
So I really think this deal was done. But speaking of, the St. Peter's Peacocks, man, the NC2A tournament has just been a blast. I've absolutely loved this whole St. Peter's David versus Goliath kind of scenario that they produced for St. Peter's. You know, I was thinking about the scripture that said over in Matthew 20 and 16 in the New King James, it says, so the last will be first and the first will be last. But I like what it says in the Message. It says, here it is again, the great reversal. Many of the first ending up last and the last ending up first. And that's what it seems like. It seems like last year was a year of the small market, and you're seeing it again here with St. Peter. You know, the small market, the team that nobody knew, the Cinderella, is wearing the slipper and getting it done. You know, but what I think what happened was the whole tournament, the whole media department was ready to just jump on the Coach K story and the Duke story, but then this David came and took all the shine away. Because if you go to their games, there's people who for Villanova, whoever else, they're cheering for St. Peter's.
Yeah,
they want to see St. Peter's keep winning. So I think the NC2A wasn't ready for St. Peter's to do what they're doing. They thought, okay, it's a great story. Let them get to the Sweet 16, get them out of here, and then we can focus on Duke winning this thing. But I think the crowd and the people are going, nah, we like this story better. What do y'all think? We'll go with you first, Tim.
All right. I think everybody loves the underdog, you know, and usually it's easy to kind of rally around, you know, the little engine that could, and they certainly fit the bill there. The other piece, given that, you know, they have the storybook, you know, situation with the coach who was a McDonald's All-American and, you know, came through the ranks, and now he's, you know, coaching, and, you know, that's a really good feel-good story also. And one of the things that he said in one of the post-game press conferences was, you know, they asked him, how are your players able to do this? You guys knocked off Kentucky, and then, you know, you punched Purdue in the mouth, kicked them out, you know, top, you know, a couple seeds. He was like, well, hey, man, I tell my guys, it's just basketball. You know, we can play. And a number of them, quite frankly, you know, wanted to go to some of those schools, but they didn't, you know, recruit them and bring them on. And so as far as they're concerned, they're just as good of players as these other players in these blue blood universities. And we've been seeing that on display, you know, thus far. I mean, now they're going up against the North Carolina team that really caught fire toward the tail end of the season and also has some chops. And so as we've seen, you know, in times past, it's hard for the Cinderella story to get all the way to the championship, chopping down that, you know, those tall trees. And so it'll be interesting to see how long it lasts, if they can survive this weekend, because if they do, they will be in the Final Four. And that definitely will be the, you know, the biggest story. The fact that Duke has advanced to the Final Four, that Coach K story is still kind of, you know, on deck to really be the storybook. And if they mess around and win the championship, that probably will be the biggest story of the tournament. But St. Peter's has really done an excellent job, stepped up. The coach has been coaching his behind off, Shaheen Holloway, getting the players to believe that they can do it. And they've been playing very, very relaxed. Last couple of games, when it came down to them having to hit free throws late in the game to ice the victory, they made the free throws as well. So something is to be said about fundamentals also. And if you can maintain fundamentally sound basketball, mixing that with even a tinge of athleticism, you've got a shot. And they've demonstrated that throughout this tournament thus far.
And let me add this before you say something, Will, and add courage to that. Them cats have not been scared of anybody
at all.
Go ahead, Will.
Well, St. Peter's is in Jersey City, New Jersey. Need I say more?
Forget about it.
Right. Hey, rough and tumble.
Forget about it. Forget about it. And, you know, as Midwesterners, you know, we have a certain amount of respect for our East Coast Americans, because we know that America evolves from East Coast to West Coast. People came across the ocean from England and Africa, landed on the East Coast, then they migrated across the country, That's
Right.
how it goes. So the East Coast is, they're the trendsetters. So from that standpoint, they act pretty much like we expect people on the East Coast to represent. So that part is predictable. The thing that I really like about them is that they look like they trust each other with every bit of everything they got in them.
Right.
They don't care who do what. They just need it to get done. And it's like, it's great to see basketball played that way.
Right.
No
I
envy,
agree.
no jealousy, no, oh, it's your turn now, or you did the last one. Everybody just laying it all out there for the team. And that's just outstanding. I love seeing that. The thing that I don't like about this, and Tim, you mentioned this, the thing that I do like about it is that they are great at the fundamentals. They make their layups, they make their open shots, and they make their free throws.
Right.
The only where they getting beat is on the boards because they're a little undersized.
Exactly.
But they make up for that on defense with steals and deflections and things like that. So it's just a joy to watch a team like this play if you love basketball, like I know all of us do. The thing that I don't like about this is that they coach gonna be gone after this year.
Absolutely.
Because once a coach is this successful at a school,
Right.
somebody else, one of them big schools, finna offer him millions of dollars because he only get paid probably about $250,000 coaching at St. Peter's.
If
He
that.
gonna get, if that. So he getting ready to get a big fat contract at one of these schools, and he gonna be gone. And all of those guys who's able to help him elevate like that, they gonna still be stuck at St. Peter's.
Right.
So that's the bad part about all of this.
Right.
Because y'all, if y'all looking at it like I'm looking at it, I'm feeling the coach as I watch the players.
Right. Right.
It's
Exactly.
almost like it's almost like it's his personality out on the floor.
Exactly.
And when they remove him, which y'all know that's getting ready to happen, St. Peter's can't pay him no more money than what they paying him now.
Right.
That's getting ready to happen, and he's going to be gone. And that's the thing that I don't like about this. All of these teams, whenever a coach overachieves, does well, the schools with the deep pockets come and overpay him and take that coach away from those kids. And that's the only thing I don't like it. Now, the transfer portal kind of evens the landscape a little bit because now these kids have been seen, and in the past, they would have had to go sit out a year.
Right.
Now we've seen these kids. Some of these big colleges can also come and raid the pantry of the players. So this is going to be a one shot wonder for St. Peter's because they players and coaches are going to be raided this year, and the cupboards are going to be bare.
You think the coach is going to be poached, man, after this year?
Absolutely.
He going to be coach. If soon as they lose, I give it 7 days.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, check this out. Let me ask you this. Who's the new coach at UWM?
Right.
Art Lundy.
Wouldn't you rather have St. Peter's coach?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Okay. Gotcha. Supply and
for
demand,
him,
huh?
but for him, that's a lateral move.
No. The coach at UWM get $500,000.
But what I'm saying that as far as a school size, that would be a lateral move for
Shaheen Holloway.
For Holloway.
Yeah, but it ain't a lateral move pay wise. It's double the salary.
Yeah. Well, we don't know what his salary is.
It's about $250,000.
Yeah. But he's going to be poached. He's definitely going to be poached, especially with all of these firings that has happened in the NC2As. So there's going to be a lot of teams that are looking for and have been waiting to see what was happening in the NC2A before they do any hiring.
I'm gonna throw a name out. I'm finna throw a school out that I don't know if they've hired somebody, but I'm finna throw a school out right now. The University of Georgia.
Yep.
Mm.
He goes to the SEC.
Million plus salary.
Right. And you're in Georgia.
And the expectations aren't that high because Georgia basketball been down in the dumps for a decade and a half.
Yeah.
Right. And being in that Georgia group there, that South group, his intensity and his mindset, they eat that up like candy.
Man, the resources are ridiculous. Now you got your own private plane you fly on to the games.
Yeah. SEC.
Georgia got their own plane.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it would be hard if they did make an offer for him not to go for that immediate upgrade. Love you, St.
Right.
Peter's, but I gotta bounce, and they wouldn't be able to blame him either. You know,
Nobody
so
would.
that would
Nobody
that
would.
would that would be good. That would be.
But
I'm happy for him.
but he also could bring some of his players too.
He could.
He could bring
Yeah.
some of his players. Y'all come on, go with me. Give me 3, because he could say in my contract, I want 3 of these guys to come with me.
Well, he can just say, I got control. He can bring them on his own. Once they pay him and give him the money, he can do what he wants. He can hire the janitor.
Right.
Or he can shock the world and say, you know what? I'm gonna stick around and keep my talents at St. Peter's.
I'm gonna
And if he,
take my
and if he
talents to South
does,
Beach.
I'm flying to St. Peter's.
You gonna choke him out, Will? You gonna choke him out on GP?
I'm putting him in the Gagne sleeper and said, man, get your wife and your kids. We out of here.
Right. Right.
Understood. Understood.
You know, and here's the thing, you know, all of us understand whatever we do, whatever occupation we take, we always want to get to the highest level of that occupation.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter how loyal you are to a company. If you've taken that company as far as you can take it, and somebody says, hey, here's some more resources, here's the ability to take it to a whole nother level, help take us to another level, and I'm going to give you take care of your family better.
Yeah.
Who's not taking that job?
Nobody. I mean, it's definitely an offer that's hard to refuse, if not
Right.
impossible.
Man, look, let me just tell y'all this story. I had my god sister and her husband, they had a little video gathering of a church. And y'all know the rest of the story.
Just Exhibit A.
Exhibit A.
Right. Hey, let's switch gears for a second, fellas. New York has lifted the vaccine mandate. And now Kyrie Irving can now play home games. But I don't think the mandate, Will's excited, but I don't think the mandate was really lifted for Kyrie. I think it was because they had to look at the fact that, wait a minute, the Yankees are getting ready to start.
Exactly.
And the
The
Mets.
Mets and the Yankees.
Right.
Yeah.
And why is there a mandate for them? They play outside and all the players are 6 feet away from everybody. And the only time you're next to one another is in the dugout.
Mhm.
You know, so they had to really look at that and go, it don't make sense for them. And so I see Kyrie is, you know, he's benefiting from it. But I don't think it's going to make much of a difference for Brooklyn because they still don't have a leader. They don't have a leader. Who's the leader of that team? You don't know if it's Kyrie. You don't know if it's KD. And you definitely know it ain't Steve Nash. You know, so you're trying to figure out who's leading that team. And it's real easy. And I'm going to just say this. It's real easy for KD to defer to Kyrie right now. But let Kyrie start getting more shine. KD going to be like, hey, this is my team. And it's going to be friction because it was friction in Golden State. And you came to somebody else's team. And then they tried to hold you accountable. And you're like, hey, listen, don't hold me accountable. I'm out of here. You know, and so you're dealing with somebody you got a leader, if it's KD, who's sensitive. You got another leader of Kyrie who's fickle. What you got here, man? What you got with Jersey? So
Hey, you might as well add Steve, what's his name?
Nash.
Steve Nash is who's inept.
Right. So what you got here? You got a big salary that may not produce big. Because I'm looking at the Bucks and I'm going, they're in that same position they were in last year. They're not the hunted, they're the hunters again. And that seems to be the place where the Bucks thrive, is being the hunters. And I didn't realize how much of a difference Brook makes. Brook makes a huge difference because he allows Giannis to play where Giannis playing. St. Peter's reminds me a lot of the Bucks in that everybody knows their role, everybody plays their role, and ain't nobody got any egos. But I think the adding of Serge to this mix, I think is going to be really good, because that was some of the problems that the Bucks had. Is once Lopez went out, Giannis had to just go to the center. Now he don't have to. So I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be less wear and tear on Giannis, and I do think it's going to make the Bucks a whole lot better this year. Will, you being Willie Buck Wade, how you feel about this, Will?
Dr. Buck.
Right.
Hey, I'm just excited about the playoffs in general, man. I mean, I want the Bucks to win it all, of course, we all do. But the playoffs is going to be brutal this year, man, because the truth is, it's really not one team that you can say is, the undisputed favorite. Right. It's a lot of things that can happen. Health-wise, we don't know what's going to happen with Ben Simmons. We don't know what's going to happen with Denver if their star player is going to come back. Chris Paul has already checked back into the lineup.
Right.
We don't know what's going on with Miami and some of their people. We watching Oladipo out on the court, so we forgot he can contribute. Maybe not at that all-star level, but he's a serious contributor. Right. So there's a lot and then Memphis Grizzlies look like they got everything they need except experience. So it's going to be real interesting. And Paul George just got checked into practice for the Clippers, and we don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi. So it's a whole lot that's going on right now, health-wise, that could give any team an edge, or if they don't get X, Y, or Z, it could be their detriment.
Right. Timmy, close us out, man.
Word up. I think that everything Will said was, on the money. I would just expand that and just say, I think that there are a couple of, folks that I would call, favorites. I think Phoenix is really, to me, the team that maybe has the best chance, of winning. Our Bucks, I really like the Bucks, but I just think that Phoenix took it personal last year and thought they, should win, and the hunger that they have to go ahead and get the job done. I think they've learned from last year, learned that, hey, it's not enough just to get to the big dance or get to the championship. You have to actually make plays down the stretch in close games, because they can come down to you losing the game by 2 or 3, but an L is still an L, and there are no moral victories when you're looking for championship hardware. So them and their coach, I think, are great. I think Golden State is trying to make, some noise, and the Grizzlies, not only are they impressive with John Morant, who has demonstrated, he's played an MVP kind of year, definitely the most exciting player in the NBA this year, but the team is, 16-2 without him. So there's not a one-man show, and they have really matured and taken some major steps as well. On the East, I think the Bucks and the Miami Heat probably are the favorites.
Awesome. Hey, listen, another great show. Stay tuned and keep up with us. Be here next week, same bat time, same bat channel, to the #1 faith-based sports talk show in the entire world, Into Its Court. Until next week, have an amazing week. Peace.
Bam.